Hello, everybody. I'm Alfred, and you're welcome to the Alfred's Bible Club podcast. I'd like us to open our Bibles to the book of Proverbs, chapter 10, verse 4. I read, He becometh poor that dealeth with a slack hand, but the hand of the diligent maketh rich. Let me take that again. He becometh poor that dealeth with a slack hand, but the hand of the diligent make it rich. This is very important. It's saying that if you deal with a slack hand, you will become poor. And you have to understand this about going in and giving it your all. There are some people that are doing the right thing, but they are not giving it their all. They are dealing with a slack hand. It's not enough to know the right thing to do. Some people don't even know that. But it doesn't stop there. In addition to knowing the right thing to do, you have to do the right thing. You cannot be the man that listens to wisdom or the word of God, like a man looks into a mirror and then goes away forgetting what manner of man he was. You can't be that guy. You shouldn't be that guy. That shouldn't be you. It's one thing to know the right thing to do. It's another thing to do it. And it's even more so another thing to do it well and give it your all, give it your best. The difference between Michael Jordan and every other person in the NBA is how much work was put in behind the scenes. That's the reality. The truth about talent is that talent bows to hard work. Talent bows to practice. And it's not just hard work. You have to understand this. There are people who now diss hard work and they talk about smart work. But no, it is not the approach you should take. You should take the approach of mixing the two. Hard work and smart work. Work hard in a smart way and be smart about it. Work hard in a wise way. The fact that now we now have leverage, and with leverage, and this is where the argument for smart work over hard work comes in. With leverage, you can work for only 2 hours and accomplish what somebody who was just working hard accomplished after 2 years. But you did it in such a brief time because you were smart about it. You used a smarter, more intelligent approach to solving the problem. However, imagine if you put in more hours in that your smartness. Think about the other goals. Yes, you will achieve that goal, but what about other goals? And then other goals, and then other goals, and then other goals. Imagine all the different goals that you would have accomplished when you mix smart work with hard work. The two of them are intended to go together because there's such a thing called wisdom. And when you have wisdom, your hard work has to be smart. Your hard work has to be wise. You cannot isolate the two. When you look at, for example, somebody like, you hear people say stuff like, if hard work was all that, the most hardworking people are, are the laborers, the people who do all the hard labor, when the wealthy are sitting in an air-conditioned office. It's a matter of being smart with it. In life, we all came into life naked. You came into life with nothing. And, if you die, you are living with nothing. As a matter of fact, if you are raptured, they are also leaving this world behind and this body behind, and you are going to be reformed into a new body. So you came in naked with nothing, and you are living that same way. Now, even if you have the privilege of having rich parents, that is your parents that are rich. It's not you. So if you are born with a silver spoon in your mouth, you still came into this world with nothing. It's your parents that had the wealth. What if you happen to have parents that also belong to a cult and believed in rituals? What if they sacrificed you? What is the benefit of being born into a rich family then? Or what if, it is parents that, don't care about their kids. They just let the kids, go. The kids are in a wealthy family, but the parents never talk to the kids. The parents don't have time for the kids. The parents are off doing their own thing, making money and fraternizing, and doing all this sleeping around. What about that situation? So you have to understand the reality of the fact that we all came in with nothing, and we are leaving everything that we get and acquire in this world behind. So we all have an equal playing field on that level. What matters is what you do when you get here. It doesn't matter how you were born. If you are born blind, if you are born with one hand, one leg, are there not crusades where there are miracle healings? Why haven't you gone there? And go there over and over again, listen to the word, and then walk the word until you receive a miracle. It doesn't matter where you start, but you are here now, so you have to give it your all. Everybody in this world has the opportunity to become successful, to become rich, to become the best that they can be. But you have to have this mindset and put in your all. Now, back to the scripture. It says, he becomes poor that dealeth with a slack hand, but the hand of the diligent maketh rich. This is what I was saying about people like Michael Jordan. The only difference between Michael Jordan and every other athlete is because he worked harder than all the other athletes in the NBA. This is the truth. It is not a matter of, talents. I said it before, talent will bow to hard work. And hard work should not be isolated from wisdom. So you don't have to be differentiating and be saying hard work, smart work. Join the two together. Let it be wisdom. You should be living in obedience to God and in obedience to God's instructions. So your hard work should be in obedience. When your hard work is in obedience to God, why worry about smart work? Because you are obeying God, who is wisdom. So it's not just smart work, it's wise work in obedience, and it's going to take you much further than you just using your own intelligence can take you with so-called smart work. So understand that. Now back to the Michael Jordan's situation. Michael Jordan is somebody who, after winning, the Olympics, this was in the 90s with the team. The next day, when others will be celebrating, when others will be going to nightclubs, Michael Jordan was in the gym. And I've recently come across some new clips on the internet when Michael Jordan explained that everything that he did when it was game time, he had done them thousands of times during practice. So when it was game time, everything just flowed. It was things he had done repeatedly during practice. So all those special moves, when people say, look at how he jumped, look at how this person was trying to block him from me, this person was trying to block him from here, and he maneuvered and twisted and curled the ball and rolled the ball from over here, and the ball still entered the net. Oh, Michael Jordan is so great. Michael Jordan was practicing those moves during practice. He practiced it so much. So when it was time for the game, you are seeing it for the first time. You are seeing him doing it for the first time. You have never seen anybody do something like that before. You're like, wow. But he himself has been practicing that move repeatedly. And I also came across another clip where, Bruce Lee is somebody whose name still is all over the place. This is somebody that passed a long time ago, I believe around when I was a kid, or even probably before that. Bruce Lee is known as one of the early pioneer martial artists when it comes to bringing martial arts to the big screen, to Hollywood, to TV. Bruce Lee's name always, he's the first major pioneer. And he said something. He said he's not afraid of somebody who can do, or he's not worried about somebody who can do 1,000 different kinds of kicks. But he's worried about somebody who can do one kick, one style of kicking, and has practiced this 1,000 times. That is who you should be worried about. That is how these people practiced and practiced and practiced. When you look at those who excel in their profession, the practice is ridiculous. They practice more than others. They kept giving their all more than others. And you see the scripture says here that a slack hand It's going to result in poverty. And this is why some people, they are working, but they are wondering why things not working out. It's because you are putting in the same hours that all your mates are putting in. Sometimes you're putting in less. You're not giving your all. And this is also why some of you are not getting promoted, and some of you will not get promoted in the office, because you have to understand that there's the office etiquette. There are principles of the marketplace in the office that you have to abide by. You have to be somebody that, if you work for a company, your absence should be felt and your presence should be felt based on the work that you do. There are some people, when they are not around, everywhere is different, because now everywhere is dirty, because it was them that cleaned up things. It was them that picked up things. They did take things that changed the entire environment. Now that they are gone, everywhere is dirty. Now, in the same way, if you work for a company, be that person that when you are there, everything is moving smoothly. There are fewer customer complaints. There are fewer confusions within the office of who has this and who has this, and have this thing moving, have this done. Be a solution beyond what is expected of you, beyond what you are supposed to put in above what is expected of you, what is on your job description. So that, let it be that when your boss wants something done and he wants it done right the first time, he cannot take any risk. It's your name he will think of. If you remember, like when you were in school, back in the day, even now, there are people who, if you want to play football, it is their name you will think of first. And there are some people that, if you have a problem in mathematics or in your schoolwork, there's a student that your name will think of first. Let me ask this student. He will probably know the answer. Why did his name or her name come up? Be that person that in the office, in the company you work for, they think of, when there's a problem, let me call this person will probably have the answer. So be wise about it and do this. Be that person who is early to come to work and late to leave. The one that is eager to put in extra hours. When you do this, life is spiritual. Don't say, what if I do all this and then they don't give me promotion or they don't reward me? Life is spiritual. What you sow is what you reap. If they do not promote you in that office, somebody else who saw your hard work, when they are starting their company or some other company that is already active or perhaps even making more money, will look at you, see you as this guy. If this guy is the reason behind this company's success, if we remove him and put him in our own company, we will go further and we will also have no competition. Life is spiritual. So that is what is going to happen. Because whatsoever you sow is what you reap. So be wise, and understand that dynamic. Don't be that person that's always complaining. Some people, they always have complaints about other people in the company. It doesn't matter whether it's a for-profit company or an organization, perhaps even in a church. You're a worker in a church. You're always complaining about other people's problem. And also, if you're always bringing up the issue, oh, this person did this. You're bringing it up to the boss or to the head guy or to the main pastor or whoever is in charge of that for-profit organization or non-profit organization. You are not a solution. You're a problem bringer. Even though it is not the problem with you that you are highlighting, you are always, this person did this person did this. You cannot solve the problems yourself. No boss wants an employee that is always bringing problems to him. Rather, he wants someone that is solving the problem themselves. You see, this person is doing this and doing this. Can't you figure out how to handle it yourself? There are people that get promoted and there are people that won't get promoted. For example, let's say in a company, and I'm using an illustration. This actually happened in an organization. Somebody who was newer, and these are leadership qualities are seen, in the company. So it's not just a matter of, I've been here so long, oh, the company owes me this. Somebody who was newer in a company, in an organization, she saw a door. Somebody left the boss's door open. She saw it. Others saw it. And the boss did not like that, but the boss was not around at that time. But somebody left the boss's, the office door of the boss open. She called out the person who did it, disciplined them, told them that they should close the door. They are all on the same level, but she did it respectfully and highlighted it. And guess what? The boss was watching. And guess who he promoted? He promoted that fellow, not the people that were there before her. Because she showed leadership qualities in this little thing. It's not part of the job description. You did not sign into any job saying that you will make sure that the boss's door will be closed or all of that. But she just knew this is not right. The boss doesn't like this. His door should not just be left open. Just because he's not around. But he was somewhere watching. It was not like he planned it, but he happened to be in a position where he could see what was happening. They couldn't see him, and he noticed them. Others saw it. Others knew that it was wrong, that the boss should not like it and would want to complain, but they kept quiet. But this lady that was new is the one that spoke up. She took charge. That is who they put, who ended up getting the promotion. And that is how life works. You have to look at what certain people look at. So you have to understand the dynamics of the office. So, you have to learn and be wise. And when you do that, when you mix this, and you keep on going forward, there's nothing in this world that is going to stop you. As long as you are breathing, it is on you to keep moving forward, to keep pressing on, to keep putting in your best. It's not enough to put in little. It's not enough to go halfway. You have to go all in. The Bible is telling you, he becometh poor that dealeth with his slack hand. That means the person that did not do any work at all, and the person that did the job halfway or sleep shortly or put in the mediocre average amount of work, we end up poor on the same level. Not giving your best and putting in your best, we end you in poverty just the same way like if you did not do anything at all. So put in your best. And like I said with the Michael Jordan illustration and all athletes, when you see the work, I listened to some other athlete talking about Kobe Bryant who passed away. And Kobe Bryant had a very long career in the NBA. He said that one time he decided to work out with Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant is somebody who woke up around 2 or 3. He will work out for 2 hours. He will go to the gym, play basketball, 2 hours training, go back, relax, go back 2 hours. By the time the rest of the team, the rest of the NBA wake up at 6 a.m. and come for training, which some of them will be complaining that 6 a.m. training is too much. Kobe Bryant has already spent about 4 or 3 hours exercising before that, and then he will still exercise with the team. So he explained that at the end of, by the time 5 years has gone, he has trained and exercised more than them, and there's no way that they can catch up. So when you see Kobe Bryant's career and all the amazing things he was doing, look at what he was doing behind the scenes. This guy was exercising more than others. Look at even boxers like Floyd Mayweather. This is a guy that with his cars and all of that, he will jog and run. He had, when he was, still boxing, his training was ridiculous. The same thing with Michael Jordan. With Mike Tyson. When he was back in the day, in the 90s, their training was ridiculous. They trained more than others. Now, I want to say this, and it's very important. Some people look at certain things because, it's in the public eye. Like, for example, if you're an actor or if you're an athlete, they look at it differently from a job like if you're a doctor or if you're an engineer or if you are, whatever, working in an office somewhere, a businessman or a retailer. But I would like to say this: bring that same passion that someone who is training for the Olympics has. Bring it into business. Bring it into your job. Bring it into your profession. That same passion. When you look at somebody like, for example, Allen Iverson, when he plays basketball with so much passion. You would think that they kidnapped his family and told him, if you do not win this game, we'll kill your entire family. He played with so much passion. It was ridiculous. Bring that passion to whatever you do. Whether you're a musician, write more songs than everybody else in the world that is a musician. Create more songs more than everybody else that is a musician. Tour more than everybody else that is a musician. Promote your songs and your music more than everybody else that is a musician. If you're a writer, do the same. Write more than every other person that is a writer. If you're a businessman, you are selling things in a shop. Make sure you learn and read more about business and sales than anybody else in the world. And make sure you sell. You sell your products. You market your products more than anybody else in the world. Certainly more than everybody around you in your streets, in your city, your community, in your nation. Go even more. Make sure that there is nobody that is working harder than you, that is putting in more than you in your profession. And take it very seriously. And this is not something that you should take it in the direction of, oh, that person is advancing like me, let me take him down. Or no. Let the hard work of others motivate you to work even harder, not for you to try to pull them down or wish for them to fall. No, let them be working. If they want to start working hard, there's an interesting story I heard, and this is a true story about in the movie Predator, by the action movie by Arnold Schwarzenegger and one other fellow, I can't quite remember his name. The guy who starred with Arnold Schwarzenegger in Predator. At that time, Arnold Schwarzenegger told a story about how the guy will wake up. He discovered that the guy will wake up around like 5 and go to the gym before they started acting. So he will now top it and he will wake up by 4. So when the guy noticed that, he was working out more than him, it became a competition until they started getting little sleep and it started affecting their performance and their acting. And they had to call to order and make a truce. But they were competing as, who is going to work the hardest. That is a good mentality to have. In their case, it's a funny story. But, this is not something that you should take lightly. And this is what differentiates, people from the other. It is not a matter of, this person is talented. You can have all the talents in the world. But when somebody else that so-called does not have talent puts in more than you do, they will succeed more. It is the same thing with pastoring. The reason why some churches are mega churches and some churches are small is the same reason. When you look at the biggest churches, some people are pastors, but they have never read a book about church growth based on biographies, not based on theory, not based on somebody. Even that, so many people will not do that, but it's not a book based on, this is what I think, this theory and this theory is how to grow a church. But they have studied organizations, they have studied all non-profit organizations, their history. They can tell you everything about the history of every non-profit organization through history. And that brings to mind something that Napoleon said. A lot of people talk about Napoleon as in on the military field. This guy turned France, which was an army that was always losing, into an army that almost conquered the whole world. Emperor Napoleon. And was a threat to Great England in its heyday. The England was so afraid of Napoleon. And he's one of the first people that the era of wars in his time is named after him. That an entire era is named the Napoleonic era because he changed the way war and battles are done on the battlefield. Now, this in the negative, but I'm just showing you the degree of commitment. Napoleon said that every general should study battles since the beginning of time. This guy, Emperor Napoleon, he studied wars and what happens on the battlefield. He studied what Alexander the Great did. He studied what Sun Tzu did. He studied from every part of the world. That is why he stood above others in his time when it comes to wars, fighting wars. And he was a jet and he was just taking down everybody, and almost conquered the world. Napoleon almost conquered the world. If he did not fall at Waterloo, he would have taken all of England. And with him as England and England as a colonizer at that time, he will spread into the colonies. And nothing will stop Napoleon. So we will all be speaking French, not English. If that had happened. So you have to understand the degree of commitment that this guy, who thinks about that? To study every single war in detail that has been fought, to understand how, what happened, what went wrong, why did this guy lose, why did this guy win, what was, he studied all the things. Nobody before that had studied, and he created his own ways and patterns of fighting wars with what he had. Imagine if he had the technology today, or somebody like that had that kind of technology today, and then it would be a problem. But in as much as that is for the negative wars, it applies to everything. That is why some pastors, a lot of people, when you look at some pastors, they are struggling, but some other pastors, they are doing very well because they understand and they have read and studied all the successful ministries. If you are thinking that churches grow from tithes and offering, you are lost. There's a lot you do not know about churches and organizations. But if you are looking at tithes and offerings, you're setting a church and you think that is how you will grow, you are in soup. So there is so much about that entire world. You have to, whatever profession that you are in, learn everything that there is to learn. There's a book that Donald Trump, released years ago, like maybe about 10 years ago or thereabout. I bought the book. The book had quotes by different CEOs. That was the time that everybody still liked Donald Trump. So he had quotes. Every single page, was every single page or 2 pages was a quote or a short note from a CEO. So it's like the book is a compilation of, I guess he wrote the book by sending out letters to different CEOs and billionaires saying what is the best advice you can give on business. So that's what the book is. A bunch of different CEOs giving their best advice on business. If you had one advice to give on business, what will it be? So some people were giving 6 sentences. Some people will write 2 pages. So that is what the book is about. And one of the things that is in that book is learn all that you can learn about whatever profession that you are going into. If you are going into baking, for example, learn everything about baking. Every single thing. Learn the history of all the of baking itself, of all the different bakeries, the ones that survive, the ones that are very old, the ones that weather the storms. Learn all of that and study on how you can weather the storms. Because the reality of the matter is like someone once said, Jim Rohn once said that, do you know that most of the things you are trying to achieve, somebody else has already achieved it before and has already written a book about how they achieved it, but you haven't read it. If you are trying to become great in something, a lot of the things that we try to aspire to be is something that somebody else has already achieved. If you are trying to be the richest man in the world, there have been many richest men in the world at different times in history. Elon Musk, Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, different people, King Solomon, this, that. There have been different people at different times who can say that I too was the richest man in the world. What have you learned from them or studied from them? If you want to be the greatest actor in the world, the greatest actor in the world in one generation is not the same in the next. Or it's not even most times the same in the next year. Or even the next month. So, a lot of the things we are trying to achieve, you want to own a multi-billion-dollar business. Many people have already done that. Have you read their autobiographies and their biographies and studied what they did and how they did it? A lot of times, the answer you are looking for, this specific step that you should take, that you are praying to God for, has already been made available in a book. It is you that have not read it. It could be out there, in a video, in a clip somewhere, but you don't put yourself in the flow of wisdom and vital information. Listen to podcasts that are built to help you. Listen to be attracted to wisdom. The Bible talks about in the book of Proverbs, wisdom speaking, saying that I go out to the market and I go out, and I say and I call unto men to come unto me, but men no. That is the same way with men who ignore reading books, men who ignore listening to sermons, men who ignore listening to wise podcasts, wise teaching. You are ignoring wisdom and you are going to pay the price. Like it says. So, that being said, a lot have been said, and I advise you to listen to this podcast over and again and again and again until it becomes a part of you. Until this message sinks into you and you leave it out. You go all in what you are doing. And keep in mind that all that you are doing, whatever profession you choose, it has to point to leading people to God. So, use your position to talk to people about Jesus. Use your position to preach the gospel, sponsor the gospel. You don't have to give to a ministry, or do that alone. You yourself, you can buy Bibles and distribute it. You yourself can choose sermons or pick sermons that you like and give it to people as gifts. I will not forget, many years ago in school, though it was a certain teacher's birthday. This is a grown woman, and I gave her this was the days of VHS tapes. I gave her, it was 2003. The name of the tape was 2003, The Year of Laughter by Pastor Chris Oyakhilome. I gave her this VHS, and this grown woman looked at me. You could see the like with tears almost welling up in her eyes, and say, "This is the most important gift that anybody has given me in my whole life." This was a grown woman, and as someone in school, this was high school, that really touched me, and it showed, this is something that she can buy herself. Sometimes you have to understand, that it is not about the price of the gift, but it is the impact that it will make. That is what matters. So you have to understand this. Give people sermons as gifts. Buy sermons that you like, and give it to people as gifts. And this is I'm recording this around Christmas time. So during Christmas time, don't just give people foods and fruit baskets. Put in a Bible, put in a sermon, put in a teaching. So such things go a long way. Don't say they won't listen to it. No, let it be in their house. A day will come where something will happen and they will open it up. They will open up that book. Most people, they will open it up immediately. For example, there's something you have to understand that is very funny. If you give people tracts, they may tear it up, they may not read it, they probably would not read it. But if you give them a free book, even no matter whether it is Jehovah's Witness or whatever, a religious book, most people will open it because it's an entire book. they will at least open it and read, let me see what is in it. The same person that will reject, a tract, or would we collect the tract and just keep it somewhere or throw it away when you are not looking, the same person, we see a book, so we have to use this, like using comic books as a way to reach out to young readers. You buy some Christian comic books, give it to your little nephews and nieces, reach out to the gospel. So when you are successful in life, use that position to see that the kingdom of God is spreading, that light is spreading, that the world is becoming a better place, thanks to you being in that position. So that's it, for this broadcast. Thank you, and God bless you.